Have you ever tried to hold on to something so tightly, simply because you loved it only to feel it quietly slip away? Perhaps you sat next to them on the sofa, wrapping your arm around their warm body, hoping to share a moment of absolute connection. A few moments later, you felt them quietly stand up, sigh, and walk to the cold floor on the other side of the room. It leaves a quiet ache in your chest, a soft, unspoken question that hangs in the empty air. Did I do something wrong? Is my love too heavy? Take a slow, deep breath. Let go of that quiet guilt. You have done nothing wrong. In fact, you are experiencing this because your heart is so deeply invested in theirs. But there is a beautiful, intricate tragedy in loving a dog. We are two different species, separated by millions of years of evolution, trying to speak the exact same language of love. We love with human hearts, and so we naturally offer human affection. We seek face-to-face contact. We wrap our arms around those we cherish. We crave the deep anchor of a long, sustained gaze. Our dogs, they speak a much older, quieter language. Sometimes, the very things we do to show our deepest devotion actually feel like a heavy tide washing over their delicate nervous system. Love us so much that they try with all their might to endure our human ways. But their bodies will quietly, gently send out whispers, silent pleas asking for just a little bit of air. Today, let us learn to listen to those whispers. Let us translate the quiet, fragile ways they say, "I love you." But the world is a little too loud right now. Is one whisper that is more like a silent sacrifice, and it is the most heartbreaking realization of all. Think of the moments when your heart swells with so much affection, or perhaps so much human sorrow, that you just have to pull them in for a deep, tight hug. You wrap your arms completely around their neck. You bury your face in their fur, pouring all of your heavy human love, your exhaustion, your silent tears into their body. And suddenly they become entirely still. Their body turns as still as stone. Their mouth closes tightly. Their breathing becomes incredibly shallow, almost invisible. For so long, humanity has misunderstood this stillness. We often mistake it for peaceful acceptance. We think they are melting into our embrace, but the scientific truth is something so profoundly heartbreaking, it should bring tears to our eyes. In the language of their ancestors, this stillness is a freeze. Their sensory world has become entirely overwhelmed by the physical confinement of a primate's hug. Every ancient instinct written into their DNA is begging them to seek open space, to step away from the pressure. But they do not pull away. They do not run. They stay perfectly still. They endure the overwhelming weight of the human embrace, making a quiet, monumental sacrifice simply because they know how desperately you need to hold them. They love you so deeply, so completely, that they would rather hold their breath and absorb your overwhelming human pressure than do anything to break your fragile heart, willingly silence their own instinctual comfort just to hold your tears. It is the ultimate, purest act of cross-species devotion. When we finally realize what they are sacrificing in those completely still moments, it changes how we love them forever. We learn to offer them a mindful shift. We can slowly, gently loosen our arms. We can softly exhale, lean back, let them find their breath again. When we give them the freedom to move, we are telling them, "You don't have to carry my heavy world anymore." Quiet language exists all around us, hidden in the smallest of gestures. We are humans, and so we search for love in the eyes. We sit on the floor, yearning for a moment of deep connection, and look directly into those beautiful, ancient eyes. But right as we lean in, gently turn their head away, or perhaps a delicate, fleeting flick of their pink tongue grazes their nose. Our human ego often feels a quiet sting of rejection. But in the poetic science of their minds, these are appeasement signals. In the wild world they descend from, sustained eye contact carries the heavy weight of confrontation. By turning their head, by offering that tiny movement of the tongue, they are offering you a white dove of peace. It is a vulnerable, silent plea. They are whispering, "I honor you. I come in peace. Please let us be soft with one another." When we recognize this delicate whisper, we don't need to force our reflection upon them. We can simply soften our own gaze. We can blink, slowly turn our shoulders slightly away, and share the stillness. In that shared quiet, true trust begins to bloom. Sometimes, the human world is just too loud, and our affections are just a little too intense. You might notice your dog let out a massive, wide-open yawn in the middle of a bustling afternoon, even though they aren't tired at all. Or, in a chaotic moment, their lips pull tight toward their ears, panting softly in what looks like a wide, joyful smile. We take photographs. We project our human happiness onto their faces. But beneath the surface, their nervous system is performing a beautiful, fragile balancing act known as a displacement behavior. It is the body's gentle way of exhaling a moment of sensory overload. The soul's delicate attempt to bleed off the heavy pressure of our loud environment and find its footing again. They are politely asking the universe to lower the volume. When we learn to read this silent plea, we become their ultimate sanctuary. We can gently guide them away from the noise. We can lead them to a dim, quiet room, sit on the floor beside them, simply be the calm anchor in their overwhelming sea. We give their mind a single moment of stillness to catch up to our affection. This profound vulnerability shows up even when we think they are inviting us to play. You walk toward them, they instantly drop to the floor, rolling onto their back, exposing their soft, unprotected stomach. We naturally reach down with a smile, ready to rub their belly. But if we pause and look closely, we might see that their legs are held stiffly in the air. Their tail is tucked tight, eyes are wide. This is not a request for play. It is a vulnerable surrender. They are offering you their most fragile, unprotected self, placing their absolute safety entirely in your hands. It is a deeply sacred yielding of the spirit. Instead of reaching in and overwhelming their space, the most mindful response is a gift of grace. We can crouch down at a distance, speak in a hushed, gentle tone. Let them realize that in your presence, they do not need to surrender. They are entirely safe to just be. And what about the moments when we carry the heavy, frustrated energy of our human days? You come home, discover a chewed-up shoe, let out a heavy sigh of disappointment. Instantly, their head drops. Their ears pin flat against their skull. They look away, making themselves as small as physically possible. We universally call it a guilty look. But dogs do not hold human malice. They do not carry the complex burden of human guilt. What you are witnessing is a fragile soul absorbing the heavy, storm-like energy of your frustration. They sense a sudden shift in your weather, a dark cloud in your voice, and they are making themselves small to calm the storm. Your voice is their weather. Your energy is their climate. The most healing thing we can do is to take a deep breath. Let go of the material object. Realize that their fragile trust is worth so much more than a pair of shoes. Finally, we must learn to forgive the physical distance. You might sit next to them on the sofa, yearning for closeness. And after a moment, gently stand up, let out a soft sigh, and walk across the room to lay on the cool, empty floor. Do not let your heart feel abandoned. Dogs' world is entirely sensory. When they seek an empty corner, they are simply seeking a quiet breath. A dog's only true way to control their comfort in our human world is to move their feet. If they walk away, they are just asking for a moment of stillness. When we let them walk away without following, when we stop demanding that they endure our human need for constant physical touch, an absolute miracle begins to unfold. True cross-species love is not about how tightly we can hold them. It is about how beautifully we can let them go. By giving them the gift of space, we become a completely safe harbor. And soon, you will find that the dog who used to walk away will slowly begin to walk toward you. They will cross the room to rest their chin on your knee, not because they are forced to, but because their soul feels entirely at peace next to yours. If this journey into the quiet mind of your dog brought you a sense of healing, please stay with us. Subscribe to Petpsyche, a sanctuary for those who wished to love their animals with mindfulness and profound empathy. And tonight, when the house is quiet, go to them. Do not reach out to hold them tightly. Just sit near them. Share the stillness. Silently thank them for loving you enough to bridge the gap between two entirely different worlds.